Are you ready? Are you sure? For music trivia, 3 rounds in store. It's head to head, who's going to war? Are you ready to settle the score? I said, are you ready to settle the score?
Hey, welcome into another week of Settle the Score. I guess to some degree, I am your host, Matt Knost, and I'm joined each and every week by the musical director, Mr. Andy Merryweather. Freshly married. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, thanks, Matt. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm good. How was the wedding? That's what we're all wanting to know.
It was incredible. It genuinely was. Anna and I have been saying we're biased, but it was definitely the best day we've ever had. You wouldn't have known there was such a thing as COVID. It was perfect. So much love in the room, loads of tears. It was, epic. We loved it.
Good. I'm glad.
Best day.
Yeah, it's nice. And you two might be a little biased when it comes to perspective on that day. Sure. I don't know if you needed an op-ed on saying that, but we appreciate the humility of it.
Yeah. It's when other people started saying it was their favorite. My dad said it was the best wedding he's ever been to, and he's married, so married to my mum.
So Mom. This day was more magical.
Yeah, I guess. But my parents, I just want to give them a shout out, celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary on Saturday. Nice. So, 40 years is a long time. So maybe he forgot how good his wedding was.
It has been a long time.
But
it's tough for me to remember 10 years ago or 5 years ago, let alone 40, considering I've been 2.
Yes, exactly. So I'll start by raising a glass to my wife, Anna. So thanks for marrying me. She'll watch this on Thursday. I asked her if she wanted to go appetizer.
Sizer?
No, it's called appetizer. It's not an alcoholic drink. So I want to stay locked in for the episode, but it does look legit. But
I literally thought you said apple sizer, and I was like, oh, is that some German thing that I don't know about?
No, we should make that.
We should, and then market it to the Germans.
Yeah,
it'll be genius. Apple cider, guys. How have you never seen this before? This is $1 billion idea, and then we get bought out by one of the big boys. Anheuser-Busch, whoever owns them these days. I can't remember. It's another company. Anyway, neither here nor there.
But I asked her if she wanted to be backstage for the show, and she's had a tough day, first day back after her week off. So she's going to catch up on Thursday. And sorry if I'm a little shiny. I just said to Matt, I got in from my training. I had a week off for the wedding, and now I'm straight back to the working out in the park. So
you got to, buddy. You got to.
Yeah, straight back into it. So I managed to just have a shower in time for this, and here we go, and straight on the juice.
Yeah, we're good to go. Yeah, I finally gotten back to playing basketball. Fully vaccinated. It's like, okay, some form of my normal life is coming back.
Perfect. Yeah,
to a degree.
That must feel so good. Like riding a bike or a few bricks or anything like that.
Oh my God! Week 1, I was on fire. Great. I had the greatest day. And week 2, I was so frustrating. It was like golf at this point. When I play golf, I'll have a good day and then I'll have a bad
zone.
day.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, you're in the zone or not. Oh, that's interesting. So like your first week off was your first week on, you're kind of like all that anticipation and you're building up and up and up, and you get it right.
Well, and I also think it's everybody else is taking 15 months off, so maybe everybody's defense isn't on point, and I was feeling a little bit of better rhythm that day.
But you're one of the most objective people I know. If you had a good day, you had a good day. I'm sure.
I did it for me. Yes. I could give you the stats if you really want to get into the minutia of how well I played and pick up basketball, just because I was like, wow, I went X for Y in that game. Not bad. And then you just kind of notice the next game.
What's X and Y?
2 for 3 in the first game, 3 for 5. We only play to 11 by 1s and 2s. So if your team hits a couple 2s, then, basically I shot about 55, 56% on the day. And I played 6 games. So it's like, okay, I'm having a good day. And then Saturday, I think I shot about, if I'm being kind, 25%. Just nothing. Or I can make layups early and I couldn't hit my outside. And then at the end of the day, it was I could hit my outside and I couldn't make my layups.
So what's your average? Your average week is somewhere in there in the 30 and 40 range, is it? Or
I would assume it hovers somewhere around 40s.
That's cool.
Yeah. low to mid 40s overall. It's like, I'm happy with that at my age when I'm playing people that are 10 and 15 years younger than me. I'm perfectly happy with that. You got to know your limitations. Also, Wayne, who's been on the show, plays with us. And,
nice.
Yeah. We got a couple guys in their 50s and
that's cool.
A number of us in our 40s, but then there's a bunch of 30-year-olds. There used to be a bunch of like 22-year-olds and they haven't come back yet. And there's nothing like getting your ass kicked by a really athletic 22-year-old. So that's fun.
Fair enough. If the stars are, when I visit in next year, if the stars align and there's a match happening, I promise not to kick the ball. If you want to invite me along, we'll play.
Sure. The more the merrier. We don't discourage anybody from playing. Hey, come check it out. Have fun. We're here to have fun. Perry's played with us before.
Yeah.
LSJT was out there and he said he's going to come every week. So once Snyder's back in town, he'll come back.
Yeah. Luke and I used to play. We're not complete rookies. I could probably, I don't know, against actual American sport, I don't know. But yeah, I think I could play a little.
I'll tell you this much. There's a couple guys that can just take us all. They're really good. Only one of which ever goes like Jordan mode and tries to put the other team down. What you're like, come on, man. This is Saturday basketball. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
All right. So soccer equivalent, how many guys do you need to make it a game? You know what I mean? You don't have to go 10. Full squad. Do you need 10 per?
No. 5
on 5. Okay.
That's we played 5 on 5 for my stag do on a third of a full size pitch.
Okay.
So if you split a full pitch into 3 and you play across it widthways, put a goal on either end, that's a perfect 5v5 match.
Oh, okay. All right, so you need 10 people though. That's not bad. They're smaller, they're narrower courts, so we play 4 on 4.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's like week 1 we almost had 2 courts, which when we're going, we have 2 to 3 courts going. So that way you're constantly playing for as long as you want to be there.
That's nice, yeah.
But 4 on 4, 5 on 5. So if you get like 15 people, then you got another team waiting. They can immediately take on winners, and you could just keep running if you can get enough people there.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So shy of doing a full 11, the most you could do is 7 aside.
Okay.
Before the pitch is a little hectic after that.
Sure.
Up to 11 aside, the full then you go full pitch. But yeah, you basically can go 5, 6, or 7 aside is like the typical thing. You could actually like book that amount of people, 5 aside, 6 aside, 7 aside, and then it jumps to a full pitch, 11 aside. There's no 8, 9, or 10 aside because it's just hectic, or it's too much space for a full pitch. So you end up with like cramp and muscle damage and stuff. So we play 5, 6, and 7s, and my majority of gameplay now that I'm in my 30s is 5s. Tends to be where I can hide. I can hide and just do as little running as possible. And,
Exactly. You got to know what you're good at and know what you're bad at this point. And just like, all right, find teammates that complement. Although ours are all random, but
what type of play are you? A playmaker, like short forward type?
I am an off-ball 2 guard, which means I'm not the primary ball handler. Although I've slowed down to it, my playmaking's not anywhere where it once was. So I need to, if you watch Luka, I need to adapt more of his game into mine, which I'm trying to do. More pump fakes, find the weakness, et cetera. The fact that they're more athletic than me, then I need to make them pay for that.
Okay.
Sun Tzu these motherfuckers, make their strength a weakness. And let's see if I can actually do it at 42, because I don't believe that's entirely possible, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
For clarity's sake, I'm the showboater in every match I play, and I'm the guy that's doing tricks and flicks and showing off. And there's videos of me on YouTube if people want to go and find where I'm doing all the like the Nike advert style tricks. That was my game. The futsal, the Brazilian game of football, is where I came up playing.
Oh. All right.
So yeah,
I didn't know it was like martial arts and there's different. Oh, look at that. He knows brain style.
Yeah, exactly. The Brazilian guys that came up playing with literal empty cans, or playing in the street. They couldn't afford a football, so they were playing
favelas,
yeah. And so and so they designed a game where it's the ball doesn't bounce. So a sport evolved out of it called futsal, and we have it in the UK now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically a weighted small ball, and you knock it around. It's all about doing tricks, and the ball doesn't bounce, so it's not about regular football. It's about skills and touch and technique, and that's where I am. That's my kind of game.
That sounds fun.
So yeah, if I can put the ball up on my nose and run along with it, balancing it on my nose, dribble it past people that way. That's the seal dribble was one of my favorites.
But it's basically what if it touches ground, it goes to the other team, or is it just a scrum for?
Not quite like that. There are volleyball versions of it that are like that. But yeah, if people look up futsal, you'll see what I mean. It's very technical, and that's my kind of game. Just as much as I can show off, basically.
Still, that sounds more fun.
It's a lot of fun, yeah.
Well, and also being now 42, once again, it's like, all right, well, I can work on the skills of me as opposed to now I need to figure out the moves to best spin around this individual and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, those days are gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least picking it up on that level. I played when I was a kid for like 5 years.
Right.
And I was terrible the first two. I mean, just terrible the first 2 years. And then one day, just a light switch went off, and I scored my first goal. And my coach was like, just wide-eyed, like, what just happened? Wow. And I turned to him and was like, I don't know. And I ran off. I was cheering, and he picked me up. And I scored a couple more goals that season. And every time we were both like, trust me, it just feels normal now. Thank you.
Very cool.
But yeah, that's as far. I mean, I played as a kid, so. I think I've played 3 or 4 games since. Although Catherine she played a bunch of indoor. I like indoor.
Futsal is all indoor. Like, yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, so lighter ball, you sort of ping it around. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, so we'll do like a crossover. You visit here, and I'll give you a game of futsal, and I'll head over there, and you can smash me up at basketball.
Yeah, but then I'm bringing actually the Australians have taken that a step further. And I have the new version of that. So I'll teach you that. There we go.
Okay. All right.
And my brain couldn't come up with anything. And I was trying to think of some catchy little futsal, and it was nothing. I had nothing. Anyway.
Long day.
Not really. My brain.
Not for you. Not for you. No. Anyway, no. Up next on Dropping Dimes.
Yeah, exactly. We can get away from sports talk. It's fine to do. I think I might actually go see a movie for the first time this week.
Oh, any ideas?
I haven't seen A Quiet Place 2.
Oh man, yeah, we just went to that.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've got time finally this week to actually go see a movie, and they're open and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, oh wow, I can go see a movie this week and potentially play basketball. Slowly getting in, but I mean, what's the next big thing coming out? Do you know off the top of your head? Actually, it's a different release date for you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we got F9 coming out in 18 days, is it?
All right. You really looking forward to that?
What's that?
I said, are you really looking forward to that?
No, I am not personally, but that's like, I guess the next big blockbuster. Have you got a list coming out? So over here at the moment, we've got the big sort of 3 are Cruella, Conjuring, and Quiet Place 2, only one of which I've seen. So Anna and I have done Quiet Place 2, but reviews of that have been out for long enough that I don't really need to hype you up if you're going to go and see it. But
yeah, if you're going to see it, you're going to see it.
It did live up to what we had heard. It's very strong. And Anna's not a horror person either, but she loved it. And then I'll tell you why I married the right person. So we got married on Wednesday, and the Friday night after our wedding, we went for dinner in London and then went to see Blade Runner double bill in London.
Original Blade Runner?
Original and 2049 back to back.
Wow, that is a lot of Blade Runner.
That's what I mean. I married the right girl. That's what I mean.
I don't think that Catherine could sit through a double Blade Runner.
She fell asleep easily 10 minutes into 2049. Easily.
Sad thing is, nudge her. I prefer that one to the other.
I do too.
Yeah.
She got her Gosling fix from the opening scene, and then I guess dreamt about him for the next 2 hours whilst I carried on watching the movie.
Hey, can't blame her.
I still thanked her. I didn't nudge her away, kind of thing. I still thanked her a lot for indulging me. It was the only night it was playing a double feature, and it was in my favorite cinema, and it's just opened back up, and it kind of just felt right to go. So, it was really nice. Yeah, and I do prefer 2049. I really, really had good fun with it. Although I don't think they should have put Harrison Ford on the poster. It's like a proper reveal towards the end of it. Why would they?
Why keep him in the shadows on the reveal? Like he comes in, he has to travel to that remote place, and yeah, it would have been better. I agree.
Holding that back, or just having him in it. Yeah,
one or the other.
Right. Agree. And also, all I'd heard about this movie is how good the Rachel is in CGI. Like how good that CGI is that you wouldn't believe it's,
not her,
right?
Yeah.
Again, it's been talked about. I guess people don't care for Blade Runner spoilers because that is a reveal as well. She is a proper like slow burn out of the shadows moment in the last third of the movie. Yeah. If you didn't know, but I have my ear to the ground on, I'm sure people watching this have heard of Corridor Crew and everyone's talking about the CGI in that movie. I didn't realize it was a huge spoiler. So I'm sort of sat there watching it. It was the first time I've seen 2049. And I'm sat there watching it and I'm thinking, I know Rachel's in this, right? She's not here yet. This is going to be a reveal. And I fucked it for myself, So that was annoying.
It's kind of it's kind of impossible. I think they need to put something like that in there to potentially capture the average audience member's attention that doesn't have any history with Blade Runner, the original. I don't know.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just wish I hadn't known about it.
Of course.
Prior. I think it would have been really
not to watch any trailers, find out anything about a movie before I go see it as best I can.
It's difficult when you absorb as much content as I'm sure you and I do. It's difficult to stay away from stuff. I remember reading a review in Empire magazine. That's sort of talking to how long ago this was. It was a physical magazine. And I was reading in Empire and it was a review of Terminator Salvation. And they said, not to take away from a certain Austrian cameo at the end of the movie. And I was like, why would you have said that in the review? Like a pre-review as well. This is back when magazines would drop a review a month early. This, before online, well, there was online stuff, but you know what I mean? You go into a shop and you buy a magazine and you're looking through the reviews of what to go and see. And they mentioned the fact that there's an CGI Arnie cameo.
Yeah.
Disappointed by that. That was really upsetting.
Yeah, of course.
The movie let me down more than that spoiler, but either way.
As a whole, there haven't been. It sucks that Dark Fate was the worst performing at the box office because that's been my favorite for a long time.
We really enjoyed it, and so Anna, again, it was a bit of a learning for her. I took her to a double bill, Terminator 1 and 2 back to back.
Okay.
Before Dark Fate came out, cinemas put that on, and she'd not seen a single Terminator, and so I told her there were 3. There was 1, 2. And Dark Fate. And so
we can go back, and watch the others, but they're all varying degrees of mediocre.
I didn't tell her until after that those other films existed. And she enjoyed Terminator 1 and 2 so much, and then Dark Fate she loved. And then I told her, well, there are 3 more in between. And she was like, I really want to see them. Like I didn't know there were more. And I was like, no, you don't ruin it. You've got a lovely memory of how good Terminator films are.
Yeah, if you got to do it, I would say Terminator 3 next, then Salvation, and then I think Genesis is the worst.
Yeah, I think Salvation I have a little bit of a soft spot for. I think Bale committed.
There's a good movie in there somewhere.
There's some really cool concepts in that movie.
Yeah, but it just falls so flat across it's just this the whole time.
Yeah, it is. It feels like all the bones were there and then it was just the bones were put together by the wrong director maybe.
Well, you don't think Mick G, I believe who it was the best choice for that? Charlie's
Angels
Own?
I don't want to shit on him in case he's watching, but I don't think I
think we're safe. Maybe not, Mick.
Who knows?
I apologize. But I don't know.
But I honestly think I think that concept, that actor list with a different director, a Matt Reeves, you're talking about a great movie.
Yeah. In stronger hands, of course. I agree entirely.
Bale, and then extra audio from Linda Hamilton. It really had a lot going for it.
I want to see Reeves as Batman before I think he can take over a franchise type of movie.
I keep seeing headlines about this thing. Warner Brothers aren't happy with it or something like that. I don't know what to believe. I don't care. I do need to see that, but I've been impressed with his work the whole way through since Cloverfield. I've been very impressed with him. But and I can't obviously, in relation to our show, I can't wait for Giacchino's Batman score. I think that's
Was that a little spoiler about the eventual? Do you know something, or are you saying doesn't matter? Doesn't matter.
He's the composer of the Batman.
Oh, okay.
I was there. I was at the Royal Albert Hall in London the night he was asked to do it by Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves got down on one knee and asked him if he would compose the Batman score live on stage. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Giacchino is like the guy that, people say is the heir apparent to Williams, and yet he's taken over Spider-Man from Elfman and now Batman from Elfman. So that's quite interesting. That he's kind of following in his footsteps a little bit. He'll be doing Beetlejuice next.
Potentially. Although there were other iterations between the two.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't pick up the mantle immediately, but I know
no,
what
of course. There's just a strange,
interesting happenstance.
Agree.
So how he was the next Williams.
I think. He's done the. I think he's the baton is being passed to him for Star Wars potentially. He did Jurassic World. I guess you could say his Super 8 score is very similar to E.T. And the films there's a lot of similarity. Yeah, the Spielbergian and JJ similarities. I think John Williams and Giacchino, they run the same parallel train tracks. So
Super 8 is his Goonies, like trying to make something for a younger generation that they'll carry with
100%.
them. It's darker.
Yeah, it's Goonies with a splash of Close Encounters maybe or something. Maybe a little bit of Jurassic Park. But yeah. The JJ clearly grew up watching early Spielberg, and Giacchino obviously watched those films with the ear on the score. I think it shows.
And I'm sure they went in with the production meeting of this is the vibe we're going for. Here's what we're trying to sell. Yeah. Maybe not say Williams and Spielberg, but use all the keywords that describe a Williams and Spielberg film. So you don't have to say it without saying it.
Yeah.
Anyway, the chat is going crazy. Thanks to everybody that showed up. To Josh Sachs, Heinrich, Brandy, Drew.
Oh God, I clipped over from the private chat to the comments. I apologize to everyone.
Yeah, there's a ton over there. I don't know how to share. So it comes in on StreamYard on my end, but not on yours. I know that.
I'll just read a couple here. Congratulations to Andy on his recent wedding. It was recent. Thank you. And thank you for the congratulations. Congratulations, Andy. Congrats, Andy. Okay, well, Matt's here too. Does anyone want to?
Well, you kind of had the big news. I am utterly unconcerned with.
But did everyone hear about how good your basketball match was?
I don't really. It pales in comparison. Who gives a shit about a day that I'll forget over the passage of time versus a day you'll never forget? So I think the two events are not directly analogous.
What's the structure of the show, Matt? What have you got in mind for this particular show? Are we interacting here on the chat, or what are we doing?
I think we can do whatever we want. I don't know that there's a specific structure.
I wanted to know about Josh Sachs and listening on 1.5 speed, because that's my go-to. I listen to everything. Yeah. 802. What would it be? 1202 for you. This is slightly weird. I normally listen at 1.5 speed. So basically, I listen to everything on 1.5 speed. In fact, I used to listen to your show, Top 10, on 1.5. And I remember flipping to normal speed, and you and Roka both sounded so drunk to me, like slow and drunk. And I wonder if Josh is having the same experience now. Like, our voices must sound like we're hammered or basically slowed down, like something's wrong. So I'm interested to get more on that.
Yeah.
He was the first commenter as well. So if he can, if there's any way of interacting with him, you let me know.
Yeah, I can flash it over to the screen, whatever his response is, so you can read it live. Now Brandy says she listens at 2 speed. 2? But I can't do it with the music. No, you don't want to listen to my piano. Doesn't the piano go out of tune when you're listening on the wrong speed? Music goes out of tune. Yeah, it'll go to a different key. Yeah, exactly. Brandy, you're letting us down there. All right. Well, no, she said not for this one. Oh. Unless she does it somehow for all the talking and then goes back to regular for the music, and then I feel like that's got to be a nervous way to listen to a show. That would be
we play
painful.
a lot of music. So congrats from Drew. Give us the stats. We did that. It was 2 and 3 in the first game, 3 and 5 in the second.
Oh, I could keep going, but we'll move on. Well, Drew Ends now says he can do no more than 1.25. He feels so old.
How do you get 1.25? Oh, that's YouTube, not podcast. All right.
Yeah, I've never really.
You don't do that?
Any of that stuff. So now I just.
There's just too much content, Matt. That's the problem. Like, I start to get anxious.
It's true, but I knowing that I can't listen to it all, I just enjoy what I do listen to. Then. Yeah. You can consume all day long. I choose not to. Just start kneecapping the young guys. Josh says that's in relation to you playing with guys that are decade your junior. What other shows do you listen to? Actually, mostly sports. Sure. Sports related. I listen to like soccer, football podcasts. What are the best ones? The Times, the newspaper here called The Times. It's more of an online news outlet now. But they have one called The Game, and it's a very good, well-rounded podcast. Not biased in any way. Okay. I've listened to other podcasts that are very, very biased towards the support that they get from the hosts, and this one's very rounded. So I really like The Game if you wanted to get an ear on what was happening in the world of football. And obviously it might be a good time to start listening to that because the Euros start next week. And so that all their programming is going to be about that. If people wanted to keep an ear on the international competition, which is still being called Euros 2020, even though it's delayed a year because they couldn't be bothered to pay for all the branding again. Yeah. I mean, Japan's running into that right now. Some ridiculous percentage of their population does not want these games to go on, and yet they've sunk so much money in that the organizers and the bureaucrats are like, "This, I'm pretty sure this is going to happen, guys." Yeah. And they delayed for a year, and it cost them an extra $4 or $5 billion just for the delay, because you got to pay for all the maintenance staff and the rebranding and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The advertisers that bought time. So do you have to shift that to the next? So just one thing after another after another. Yeah, I think that shit is coming. Yeah. But maybe I'll check out The Game from The Times. The Game podcast. I really like it. I have played a little. Let's go. I want to. So the Knost, your first movie back is a horror movie, Drew says. Your first movie back to cinemas is a horror movie. Yeah, it was with me as well. Yeah, I think the horror movies are kind of getting dropped in now. I think horror movies at the box office, certainly here, are less of a gamble. They kind of know they're going to make money, but the big blockbuster ones, they have to get out of the way of stuff. So they push and they build up their marketing. Whereas horrors, you could drop with a week to go. Well, because usually horrors cost so little, so the stakes are much, much lower. That's why there's so many of them, and they've got their built-in population or demographic are a bunch of young kids who probably don't give a shit about the virus by and large. They'll wear their mask, but they're young and reckless and dumb. We all were. I would have worn my mask, but there would have been times I took it off. Anyway, so it makes more sense that horror would be the first out. Yeah, exactly. Quiet Place probably had a larger budget than, your average horror film that's competing against. I wonder what the new Conjuring's budget was. Or whatever the hell that series. I haven't seen a single one of those. Anna, oh really? No way. Not interested? Not your thing, or just haven't got to it? Nah, just don't watch. Horror's got to be kind of transcend the genre on some level. I don't get scared. So a lot of what is the compelling parts for everyone else, just kind of like, of course he jumped out from that shadow. Got you. Music was building and boom. Okay. You could appreciate it, be like, oh, that's a unique way, but I just don't get sucked in. There's a shot that you can look up on YouTube, and it's not anything to do with scariness or anything, but it's just one of those clips in a horror movie that you have to appreciate the actual quality of the filmmaking. And I guess it would be like watching the
the table scene in Jaws with the hands and the copying, the father and son mirroring each other. And it's a scene in The Conjuring where they move into the house right up the top of the movie. And the camera from them parking up on their new driveway in this kind of Amity style house in the woods, the camera starts with them getting out of the car and then tracks in a single shot through every room of the house, and it's all the kids like running around and finding their room, and this is my room, jumping onto the bed with it in a single shot. And it's kind of going to you, right, for the next 5 minutes you're going to get the layout of the house, so all the scares that are going to be coming up for the next hour and a half, you're going to know exactly where things are, and you get every angle and every perspective, almost like a real estate agent going around and taking shots from every corner. It was beautiful. And the choreography of the actors moving in and around, considering there are, I don't know, someone will tell me, but maybe 5 kids and 2 parents, beautifully done, and a dog running in and out. That shot is that for me, when I'm watching Conjuring, I went, oh, this is a very good movie, like a well-made movie that is above and beyond a typical horror film. Then Conjuring 2, and from what I've seen, the spin-offs, Annabelle and The Nun, they're all just typical horror movies without that kind of that finesse.
Yeah. That little panache, that little style.
The stuff that makes it.
Yeah. Then I would see that. Like I saw Cabin in the Woods because enough people told me like, no, it's really interesting. And I think the horror, the elements, the different genres they dabble in really add to the story and make it a unique, interesting outcome. But a bunch of the others and be like, nah, I kind of get what it is from the outside, and that's fine. If that's your cup of tea, I'm not gonna shit on you because horror always does well. It just doesn't do billions at the box office, but cost 20 million to make, made 110.
Yeah.
That's a good moneymaker.
Oh yeah. They're strong. What was it I saw something in the comments then.
Okay.
It was our friend Eric. He's done a name drop. By the way, I'll get to it in a sec. Cup of tea, not your cup of tea. Is that because you're very in line with the English language? Is that a cup of tea a saying over there? Not your cup of tea, as in not something you. Yeah. Generally, an LA saying.
I've said it my whole life. I've said it my whole life.
You're a much more learned fella than most.
I wouldn't say that. I think it's just a colloquialism that I grew up on the East Coast-ish.
Okay.
So perhaps it's more said out there, but I'm pretty sure that's a national, like universal. Everybody's heard it, whether or not people use it. But I think it's pretty common overall, I would say.
Cool. Eric says,
yes, your country is still infected ours. We will eventually purge all of it, and we'll just have Americanisms for every single thing. But occasionally we do still take. Hey, I say in for a penny, in for a pound, even though we don't have pounds.
Okay. What would be the Americanized version of that?
Probably in for a buck, in for a penny, in for a buck, or in for $1. But the alliteration of penny and pound works so much better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course. So in for would it be a cent? It's a cent. What's your single?
Well, it's a penny.
Oh, you have a penny? Okay.
Yeah, it's a cent. Yes, but we call it a penny.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool.
Penny, nickel, dime, quarter.
Oh, we really have
piece at
taken over.
$0.50.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna take some things. Yeah, we still stuck with the imperial system you gave us for some fucking reason.
I know you have an issue with this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When we talk about my weight loss,
because you guys use stones, and that's something you had to grow up with because it doesn't make any sense to an outsider.
Even today it came up. Even today it came up at work. Have a Polish team member who asked me to transfer it to kilos for her, so she could understand exactly
this Middle Ages weight system. How many stones is that?
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make a lick of fucking sense. But it's arbitrary as any other. But it's hard to transfer the measurement. But yeah, fucking how many cups are in a quart? I couldn't tell you. Whereas 250 milliliters goes into 1 liter. How many times? Well, I'm pretty sure I can figure that out.
It makes more sense. Yeah, Eric says after meeting with Giacchino about scoring Medal of Honor, doing a name drop, making me very jealous. Spielberg put his arms around Giacchino after hearing his demo and said, "This is the next Williams."
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Anointed from day one.
There you go. Signed off. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to pick up any? I don't want to hog the chat.
No, it's all right. We'll just move on. We'll check back in with the chat as we go along.
Yeah, they're really going for it. It's great. I haven't heard from Josh though about. I guess if he was listening to us on 1.5 times speed, maybe he's finished the episode already.
Quite possibly, he could have zoomed right past us very easily.
There you go. Yeah. So you liked Quiet Place 1 and excited for the second.
Yeah,
one?
I thought it was good. I didn't think it was amazing. I thought it was an interesting take on that type of movie. So I was looking forward to the second one. Okay, what else can you guys do with this? And then the cast that they added, was like, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So that's it. I've seen one trailer, but I try and block it out. Like during watching all these basketball games, it comes up. Just like I'm trying not to pay attention to it whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Cruella, I haven't seen any of the Disney live actions.
You haven't seen any?
No, I haven't seen a single one.
Wow.
Not a single one. The only one I think I might be willing to is Jungle Book. All the others are just like, meh, it's not my cup of tea. Once again, that's how often I say it.
Yeah.
But so it's just like, okay, well, Quiet Place 2, I am actually looking forward to, so I do want to see it. And this is nicely aligning of I am fully vaccinated now and I can go. If there was something else out competing against it, because they're in shit all by and large until July for me. Fast, I'm not looking forward to.
Have you got a list of what's coming out your end?
Yeah, there's nothing else. So it's Fast for June.
Oh, we've got In the Heights on Friday. We're seeing In the Heights Friday.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me know how that is.
Well, yeah. Well, you won't be going to see that, I guess, but that is a very exciting one. So, back before Anna and I knew each other, I went to the penultimate showing of In the Heights. I actually went with Luke, who designed that. Luke and I went to see In the Heights the penultimate night in London. And then the final night in London, Anna was there. We had no idea. Obviously, we didn't know each other back then. That we were one day out from potentially, bumping into each other. But yeah, so we're both huge fans of that. And so Friday night is what's called an unlimited screening. So basically, we have an unlimited pass, which is we can go for free as many times as we want. There's actually no limit. Some things are called unlimited, and obviously there are restrictions. But this one is completely unlimited, Cineworld. And they put on screenings, so you get to see films a week early on a one-off unlimited screen. It's only the card holders that are allowed to go. And we tend to enjoy those screenings, not only because we get the privilege of seeing something early,
sure,
but they make it a bit of a spectacle. They put a red carpet out. They usually give you treats as you go in. And the other thing that I love is that unlimited card holders, people that pay a certain amount annually to go and have this privilege, tend to be, they have a lot more decorum in the cinema itself.
Oh, of course. You've paid so much money. This is a big to-do.
Yeah. So I don't want to be rude, but the riffraff of a general Tuesday night at the cinema, they talk and they have their phones out. But an unlimited night is your perfect night with just cinema lovers. And so we're very excited for Friday night. Very, very, very excited. So I will let you know how it is. And, I think Catherine will probably be up for that one now. She'd go and see that.
In the Heights?
Is she a musical person? Given the chance,
I think
maybe?
so. Yeah. I don't think she's anti a bunch of. I know she likes musicals, but I think it also has to speak to her because I couldn't get her to go see Book of Mormon with me.
No, really? That's surprising. That's way more your speed, though, I guess.
That's good, yeah. At least when I saw it, I've only seen a handful of musicals live, like Les Mis. Musical live. Those might be the only two I've seen live. No, I saw. I'll think of it in a second. It's what Topsy Turvy's based on. If you ever seen that movie, The Mikado.
Oh no, don't know it.
That's fun.
Yeah,
but it comes down to a couple roles as to how good it is or not.
Okay.
I knew that kind of going into it, having seen the movie. If you've never seen the movie, it's about them making the Mikado the first time. Anyway, it's excellent. And it's an English period piece about theater people, from 100-ish years ago. It's really good. I've watched that thing like probably 15 times. I'm a big fan.
Whoa.
But I have to kind of like know about it before I go see it.
Okay.
And I don't know. I don't hang out with a bunch of people that see musicals all that often. I mean, I on the periphery, like I'm friends with people that do, but see all the time and hang out with, no, not as often.
Yeah.
So I'd be down.
I get that. We're big theater people, and we have that as part of our circle. Like, people have their ear to the ground, and we have a couple of shows booked. We have one thing booked this summer that is theatrical, but it's not theater. And it's something that I've recommended to you, well, potentially Catherine, when we've spoken about it. But anytime you're here, I'm gonna see what they're putting on, because they'll do like an 8-week run and then change it, and it's essentially a live version of a movie. So they've done Back to the Future, where they had the entire like Twin Pine Mall like set up, and they had Doc coming down the zip wire from the clock and the lightning, and it was incredible. And the DeLorean like on hydraulics, like taking off and stuff. And they've done Empire Strikes Back, and Anna and I went to Stranger Things, and it was in an 80s style mall, and they had the Demogorgon jump out at us, and it was excellent. And we have booked for this summer. We're doing Dirty Dancing, so it's set at the Catskills, and you have to dress up, and there's going to be like dancing and drinks, and it's like a party in the country, and really, really cool. And then at the end of the night, you watch the movie on giant cinema screens. They have loads of cinema screens, and the actors are there in amongst you that are dressed like the characters in the movie, and they time it so they're perfectly in tune with the movie. And so I've done a few of them. I did 28 Days Later, and we were in hospital beds watching in cinema screens on the ceiling. Like, this thing is absolutely insane, and
that's fun.
Yeah, you guys would like. I'm sure everyone in the chat would absolutely love this. It's called Secret Cinema, and they have they'll do a highlights package. So I recommend after this, go and look up the Secret Cinema YouTube channel and watch the highlights of their Empire Strikes Back night, and it is legit. And the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. So
yeah, of course,
you go to the Star Wars night, and if you kind of you might be given a token, and if you give that token over to the barman at the Mos Eisley Cantina, he'll give you something else, and then you go and trade that with someone. It might be some spice or whatever, and then eventually you might get to have a photo opportunity with Boba Fett instead of just not doing something. So if you want to play the part, you can, essentially at Stranger Things, Anna ended up running around with the guy that was playing David Harbour's character in Stranger Things, and like running around with him in his Hawaiian shirt, because she had done something that was part of her task. Or she could have just decided, no, I'm just going to enjoy it and eat a corn dog, and it doesn't matter. But she decided, no, I want to go for it. I want to do it. And so she ended up running around with this guy, and we were just having a great time. Luke and his wife, again, Amy. That was the best time. If you and Catherine are here, and you don't have to be part of the theatrics, but I'm sure you'd have a great time with it. It's so much fun. I can't believe it's not set up in LA. It would fly.
I've never heard of
almost anything like that. Yeah.
There's gotta be. That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah. And they did drive-through auditions whilst they couldn't socially, with social distancing, they did a drive-through version. And they'd be like, going up to the cars, and it's so good. Hopefully that I'm going to check the chat and see if that's piqued people's interest. That sounds awesome. Adding that to my London bucket list. Okay, that does sound amazing. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah.
Dude, when we were in London, we went to the West End and saw Kit Harington, somebody else perform in basically a 2-person play, and I fell asleep. It was so boring. It was so boring. I fell asleep twice. I fell asleep, and then I woke up, and Catherine noticed it, and then I was just like, oh. And then later on, I fell asleep, and she woke me up after a couple minutes. It was late.
Plays are tough,
and it was
a talking play, like really, really tough.
Well, it was a dark set, because they were setting a mood. So it was just so low light in there, and long drawn out expositional, soliloquies from each of them. Just like, I am out on this. I can't believe we've got Intermission needs to end. Oh no, we're going back for an act 2. Oh, son of a bitch. I made it halfway. And saw the second, but yeah, that sounds like way more fun. Get into it, enjoy yourself. You can watch the revelry of others or participate.
Oh, so apparently there is, I just read the comment, Secret Cinema isn't in the US, but I just signed up to get notified when it comes. So apparently they're looking into it. So you can be notified to be emailed when it comes your way.
Or whoever that is, we just steal the idea and we do it ourselves. It's like they didn't.
Oh my God.
They didn't patent the idea. So let's do it.
Do it.
We'll fly you in and you can be like, we'll do like a Phantom of the Opera type of theme and you can be playing a huge organ. I'll figure it all out. Don't worry about it.
I do have a good and bad half of my face, so that works for me. I'll cover that one. No, that one. I've got this little horrible bumpy thing there. I'll cover that one. Yeah, so I want to. Do you want to grab some comments from the chat since everyone's been so lovely in there?
Sure. Which one jumped out at you?
Well, I think we left it with Eric's. Eric said, "Speaking of spoilers, this is going back to when we were talking about the spoilers in reviews and stuff like that." So in the Sixth Sense album, there's a track called Malcolm's In Dead. I guess is dead. And on the Phantom Menace, there's a track called Qui-Gon's Noble End. Yeah, I knew about the Phantom Menace one, and that album got released a week ahead of the movie, and obviously a big spoiler.
Yeah,
I didn't know about the Sixth Sense one. Yeah.
The Sixth Sense, like you don't know who that character is, whereas Qui-Gon, as soon as they say Qui-Gon's name, you're gonna be like, oh, that's son of a bitch.
Yeah, and I don't know, would the Sixth Sense album have been released ahead of the movie? I guess not, right? It wouldn't have been a big enough deal.
I think the Phantom Menace is a bigger deal just because there are people that would buy that beforehand.
But they're the same year as well. That's interesting. 99, right?
Whereas the Sixth Sense, do you really think there were release sales of the soundtrack from a director that no one's ever heard of? No, I don't think so.
And also, Eric bringing up the Sixth Sense to me as well. The movie that I was ribbed on for not getting right. Of all the things, Eric.
Well, sometimes it just works out.
Yeah, he's exercising those demons, obviously. Let me see. It's Henrik, not Heinrich. What's that about? Is that a basketball player?
No. It's
no. That's the guy saying it's Henrik.
Yeah, it's how to pronounce his name.
Oh, great.
So Henrik instead of Heinrich.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Because I'm sure I vacillate between the two pronunciations.
Yeah, cool. I'm sure it's fine.
So Henrik, I will do my best, Henrik, to remember that it's Henrik whenever I read the name Henrik W. I believe it's Winterland. So Henrik, I will do my best, Henrik.
That's all you can do. So do you recognize people? People followed us here from Top 10. You have the same kind of crowd coming in. You see some of the names and recognize them and stuff.
Yeah. Henrik and Drew Inns and Josh Sachs. And a bunch of different names. But I've also seen them in comments on the show and retweets and all that jazz,
Yeah, for sure.
They're expanding their diet and listening at 2 times speed,
Yeah, no, I'm honored. I'm glad people seem to enjoy the show. We've never really, because we've never done anything like this. Do you want to kind of talk on the inception of the show itself and how it came to be? And sure. I'm sure people knew that sure for the most part people knew that I was the guy that had done the golden ticket theme for you, but do you want to talk on kind of how we even met,
well, we met in Chicago.
Yes, we almost met in London, very, very close to meeting in London.
Okay, that I don't know. You
didn't know that?
Yeah.
So from my end, I came to see the Top 10 show live in London because it was only down the road from me, and I was very excited to see you guys. And I was a listener.
Thanks for that backhanded compliment. I mean, it was right there, so we figured, well, what the fuck?
No, of course, we, of course we were going to come. But so I got 2 tickets, and Luke's not a podcast listener, but I said to him, you'll really like it. It's a fun show, and I bet they'll do like a London themed episode. And you did a back-to-back episode, I believe, in London. And
no, we just did the one.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So not only was it just geographically convenient, but it felt too long for me, I guess.
Apparently so. It's like me in a play on the West End. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This needs to fucking end.
You and Kit Harington, I'm asleep. No, so I was very excited. I took Luke and he really enjoyed it. And afterwards, there's a big queue of people. So like you'd sold out the place, and then it's a huge queue to meet you and John. And I recognized Catherine from your Instagram account, I guess, and introduced myself to Catherine. And basically, I wanted to say to her, in 2 months, this is February, I guess, in February 2019. And so in April, I'm flying to Chicago for Star Wars Celebration, and I've also got tickets to the Top 10 show. So I'm going to try and meet Matt there, but we've got to grab our train. And also Luke's a sleepy baby, and it was late, and you brought him onto the feed like past 10 p.m. He gets sleepy. So we needed
like a lot of people.
We needed to duck out, and I was confident that I'd get a chance to see you in Chicago anyway. And then I didn't. And then basically we came to the Top 10. I came to the Top 10 show on my own. I was in Chicago on my own. And Catherine and I recognized each other. And we met in the bar quickly. And I got you a drink and got Catherine a drink. And then I remember you had to go and sound check. And I remember this, and you won't remember this, but it's because the meeting was a bigger deal for me, that you looked at me, and then you looked at Catherine, and then you looked back at me, and then said to Catherine, "Are you okay? Can I leave you here?" As if you were just kind of making sure she'd be all right on her own. And she was like, yeah. Like she remembered me from London, and we'd gotten on. And we were having a laugh together anyway, and you were busy. And so then, so I ended up sat with Catherine and your mum and dad.
Yeah.
And that was really lovely. And I guess I had to then, so you did a double show in Chicago, right?
Yeah, we did a double bill in Chicago.
Yeah, so I stayed for one of them. I couldn't stay for the second. And Catherine was like, "Oh, you won't get to meet him again," you know.
And
I said, "Oh, that's okay. Like, I completely get it. And there'll be loads of people wanting to meet him anyway. And I'm sure the time will come when me and Matt get to chat and stuff like that." And I think at that point, Catherine had decided that with my personality and knowing you so well, we're just going to get on well. She just decided it, I think. She was like, you know, he's not like a normal, you know, he can talk shop with you or whatever it is. She figured we would get on well. Maybe our brains would go well together. And so, I think she messaged me later that night and told me you and her were like back at the hotel. And she said, Matt's up for grabbing brunch tomorrow. That was about it, right?
Yeah, we got brunch.
Yeah, we grabbed some
downtown.
Yeah, we grabbed some brunch in the diner and chatted for a few hours, and then you had to go and get your flight. And that was it for a while. I guess we didn't chat a lot. You know, Catherine and I stayed in touch, and but you and I, like, we didn't have things to talk about generally. And then lockdown happened.
Yeah.
Well, we were going to grab a slice because I was heading over to LA, and then lockdown happened. This is a longer story than it needs to be. It doesn't matter.
Oh, it's fine.
So then, when lockdown happened, I started doing quizzes for friends.
Yes.
And one of my quizzes was movie production logo themes. So I would play the movie production logo, and I did like a quiz with 10 production logo themes. So I'm playing them on piano. So ones that went like that, and you know, all these kind of ones, and Lionsgate and 20th Century Fox, and basically you had to guess the movie production logo. And I sent it to Catherine. I sent the 10 to Catherine and asked her to get your ear on it and see what you could get. And I guess from then, the next time you needed something with a musical inference, you were like, "Oh, Andy can probably put something together." So now I'll hand over to you because I don't know what your thinking was. Yeah.
When I asked Catherine at that bar in Chicago, it was mainly just because it's a brand new environment. She doesn't really know any people over there, and I have to go. So it wasn't anything against you. It's just like, are you going to be okay? Because you're not going to see me for a while. So If you're not, just say something and we can get out of here. It's fine. It had nothing to do with, I mean, you were part of that calculus. It was more so concerned for her, just like, let me know if you're not, and I'll figure something out type of thing. But I'm going to be distracted for a while.
I took it as a compliment, to be honest.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I did not take that quiz. I did not do the production.
I will send it to you.
She told me about it, and she was like, "Oh, Andy did this," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And she told me, she's like, "When you get a chance, do it." But then I forgot, got busy with something else. But I stored it away in the back of my head.
Of course,
I started thinking about it. It's like there's a show in there somewhere. And it ruminated for a while, and then I was like, "What about we just did this? We take aspects of Name That Tune, we bring in your amazing ability on the piano, and there's something there. We can turn this into just a fun little show between the two of us." And then by nice happenstance, you turn out to be a nice guy, and you can shoot the shit, and you're fun to meet up with every week. It's like, great, I could do this nonstop. And I think that the joy that we have between us as we do it and build up to the shows comes across. I think that's what people have kind of latched onto it. That's my guess as of right now. It seems like we're having fun.
Yeah, I know that I believe so. Yeah, I don't know if scores are so, such a global and enjoyable listen for people. I know a lot of people do listen to scores, and Jason Inman watches every week, and he loves listening to scores, and so that's his love of the show. Not only that, but he's friends with you and now friends with me. But I think people do watch for our, for the fun that we put into it, and the guests are always great and stuff like that. But you did miss before that you got in touch with me about the golden ticket,
you reached out and said, "Hey, if you need some help, let me know."
Yes,
you were kind enough to do that, because I didn't just seek you out, and I was like, okay, you know what? If you
did you post something, or I think you might have posted something.
I might have posted something
on the top 10 group, and I was like, yeah, I can bash something together. And so my house was being renovated. I remember you then said to me, like, yeah, if you want to, like, I'm thinking of doing this. And says, I think the direction you gave me is, I want to do like the Golden Girls theme, but like a twist on it, and then
change the lyrics,
the lyrics and stuff. And so I remember sending you back a photo of my entire living room. This space here was basically shrouded. It had a big dust cover on it for the painting. I sent you a picture and said, my piano's under there somewhere, and I'll dig my piano out and I'll record it for you on my phone. And I wanted you to know that I'm doing this on my phone. It's gonna, I'll make the production.
You set up a lot of like, a lot of restrictions. It's like, that's fine. I do not care.
Yeah, I'm layering the caveat. Yeah, exactly. Layering the caveats up, so you know that this is about as good as I can do in this moment, but I'll produce something properly. And then one day we'll release those like early drafts that I did of Golden Ticket theme and stuff like that. And I had a lot of fun, and we were coming up with different lyrics, and there were some that were really, really funny and didn't work, and maybe too long and stuff like that. But we were just back and forth, and it was really fun. That kind of it was morning.
I like collaborating with people. It's fun. It's like, what do you think of that? There's no bad ideas. So just like, what about this? When you came back, you made a word change at the end of one line, and it took something that was a problematic phrasing for me, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. And as you were singing it, I don't know if it was improv and you did it into it like a first time on a draft before you recorded. I can't remember what it was. I have to go back and listen to the song specifically and tell you. But you came back with that, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. I couldn't fucking think of that. And it's such a simple fix, but sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees.
There was a lot of improvising going on at the piano, because on a lot of the recordings, I would burst out laughing and still send it to you. So you could hear me like breaking, and you could hear me getting chords wrong and going, oh shit, hold on. And then going again and stuff like that. There was a lot of raw material going on, but it was so much fun. And we were hitting, like, firing back and forth. And considering we hadn't worked together before, and I didn't know at that time that you were even having this idea, maybe that, there's a show there, maybe. I had no idea. So I thought, this is one and done time I'm working with Matt. But even I was thinking, we bounce off each other very well. This is easy.
Yeah. Luke too. That's why I have no problem plugging Luke whenever.
Yeah.
Working with him, just like, hey, what do you think of this? All right, here's that. And then here's like 4 other ideas that I had too. And you're like, okay, I really like 2 of those ideas. Shit, for the logo, I couldn't come up with anything. I'm usually pretty good with envisioning.
Oh, you're good. You're not. That is nonsense. You had so many You had great ideas, the boxing gloves and
yeah. But Luke came up with Nodi here, and as soon as I saw that, it's like that's way better than anything because I was struggling. I was like, it's what about this? What about this? There's too much information in this one. Like it's too complex.
Yeah.
Was just overthinking it, and then he was easy too, and just like back and forth. What about this?
Oh, he is super easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if it comes across, or if people went back now and saw me in episodes now versus those early episodes, but those early, like the week or two before we recorded our first episode, and you and I are FaceTiming every other day, coming up with ideas, and sat there and like pen and paper, like coming up with the rules and all this kind of stuff. I don't know if it comes across in those first two episodes, but I'm still a fan of you at that point. And so like Anna's watching me like try and stay professional. And then after the FaceTime, and you're a humble dude, and like, but after the first FaceTime call where we were walking and you were like, I've got this idea for the logo, and I hung up after we were done.
Mm-hmm.
And Anna and I were out for a walk. You remember seeing us walk down the street? It was really sunny that day. And
I mean, I remember that visual on the call, but I couldn't place it to specifically having this conversation. I remember you were sitting once. I think you put it like on your coffee table, and there was a white background behind you. Yeah, and there was
we were talking.
I remember the overall discussions, but I can't winnow it down to.
Yeah, so that one particular one, I was out for the walk. Anna and I were out for a walk early, and you wanted to you were about to go to bed, so it was like that kind of time zone, and you had said, are you free for 10 minutes just to run an idea by you? And so then I hung up, and I said to Anna, like, Matt Knost just FaceTime me. And honestly, it was like that. And I don't know if it does come across that in those early episodes. Anna says I always keep it like pretty professional on the show. But honestly, there was a little bit of like, within a year, I'd gone from seeing you live and not getting a chance to meet you to, well, now you have my number and we just message every day. And I tried not to make you feel awkward about that, but yeah, it was a big deal for me, like to have you.
It's kind of you to say. And I also think it's ridiculous because I'm me. So
yeah, I know. but also you've seen the day that we decided to work together, I gave Anna my top 10 t-shirt that I bought from Chicago merch table that Catherine was running. And I gave Anna the t-shirt. I said, you can wear this now, like as a long t-shirt. I don't want it anymore because I'm not wearing a t-shirt of a guy that I'm working with. And and so I sent you a picture.
I've never worn that t-shirt.
Yeah.
I can't wear a shirt with my face on it. It feels fucking strange.
And that's how I felt. And so, but I think I sent Catherine a picture of Anna wearing it, and I was like, "This is hers now," because it's just too weird for me. But
yeah, it's weird when Catherine wears it, like sleep and stuff.
Yeah. Like, so the comments are saying that no one's really noticed that I've.
Yeah, I just figured you were quieter at first, trying to figure, out. When should I interject or whatnot?
Oh yeah.
Just like kind of getting your steady legs, so to speak.
100%.
Your sea legs.
That was, I still feel awkward. I would say, anybody that wants to go into this thing this is like episode 41. It's kind of like this kind of interval, 40 episodes in. I'm still super awkward every single episode, and still trying to figure it out. And
hopefully that doesn't go away too. On some level. Because that's who
exactly.
you are.
It's a little raw. I'm not polished. I am improving on the camera and the mic, but and those early episodes as well.
Oh, you killed me. You killed me with a couple jokes when you put your hand slowly back into the frame, and there was another one like you were like, I don't know what to do with my hands here. I was like, they're trying to figure out the song, and I'm like, you're missing the comedy here, fellas. That's
right.
It's great timing. Usually it's on the scores because that's when you flip down in round 3.
Yeah. I like it when I get you when I have you like
you got me a couple times and be like that's a great fucking joke.
I
know they're lost in thoughts. I don't hold them.
That stays with me the week. That's I tell Anna, I say look out for this. That stays with me To get you is
trust me, a good joke. I love a good joke.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things in the entire world. Did you get me with a good one? I'm all in.
So
I remember one of my favorites. It was in the Facebook group, and for those that are listening, whatnot, I don't go on Facebook anymore, and I rarely use Instagram because I'm just not a fan of a lot of their policies. It sucks, but they've gotten to the point where you guys are the worst. Anyway, but somebody started a text thread with, "Hey, would anybody else listen to a history podcast if Knost did it?" And it's just I'm not going to take the time. I would love to, but the ones that I listen to, they put in so much research to talk about one specific topic. It becomes a full-time job.
Yeah.
And that's the type of caliber that I would want to be doing if I'm going to invest the time to do it. Just like, I don't have that kind of time because I'm not getting paid to do it. It's a, type of thing. But anyway, it goes, how many ever comments deep? And then one dude just writes, and I died laughing, just went, pass. And I was like, oh man, that is a great, even if you are like legitimately saying it, I died laughing because I do that sometimes. Pass, just to be an asshole, but you kind of need to know the room. That's the only way it's funny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But in that one, just like, well, you got a room of one. I thought it was hilarious. Just you're already obviously a fan of the show. You like me, so that's what makes it so good. I know you don't genuinely mean, but fucking great joke. But yeah, I love a good. It'll always make me laugh.
Yeah,
it's when people try to be funny. That's the only time I don't like humor. Do you know what I mean?
I'll remember that.
Well, no, it's come up like people find out you're a comedian and they instantly start trying to run jokes on you. It's like,
I did that to you. I did that to you at the brunch, but you actually gave me a pass on it.
Yeah, trust me. Do you know how many racist jokes I've heard from random strangers? Because they're like, oh, you'll like this. And be like, well, what about me makes you think that I'm going to like this? And two, you don't think you're the 1000th person that has told me some variation of this joke? It happens a lot. So that's the only time. But I love a good fucking joke.
Yeah, you kill me every single episode. So yeah, if I can get you on, 1 in 4 shows, I might land. The anything we do from Coming to America seems to get you whenever I try and replicate Murphy. You do like that.
The songs are already ridiculous in that movie, so then it's almost like a layer on top, a hat on top of a hat, a joke on top of a joke.
Yeah, English white pianist tries.
I do enjoy that. That Mystical from About a Boy. I was so looking forward to that.
Yeah, you do. You love putting rap songs in for me. You love it.
Well, I also think that's a good one for that movie.
Yeah.
Once you get the clue, and just like, oh, it's Mystical, but I wanted you to get to shake that ass.
Yeah. That's what people need to see. We need to do some version where people get to see me workshopping how I get these things on piano. We need to do so. I need to get the camera out and record me like trying these, like some of the raps that I have to work out and play the piano and put the verse together and not know how long I have to work it out. The one with the wangers we did, and they just like, they knew what song it was and what film it was, and they were just letting me go.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, people, it takes a lot of work to get those things right, all the intonation in the lyrics. So
well, because that's that's the musicality of it. That's them playing their instrument.
Exactly that. Yeah. I'm just gonna drop off camera a second. I just need to plug my laptop in, otherwise we're gonna lose me. 1 second.
Go for it. Do whatever you got to do. He'll be back momentarily. How is the chat? I'm not sure how much longer we'll go at this point. Maybe make this an extra long episode. I have no idea. My afternoon is relatively free today, so I mean, I could sit here and jibber jabber for quite a long time. But thank you to everybody that's still sticking with us in the chat. We got a nice group. Drew, Henrik, Eric, Brandy. Thank you to you all. And there was numerous others earlier, but not sure if they're still watching. They've dropped off, but this is the first time we've ever done this. Hey, join along. Perhaps we'll do something like this in the future for the main show, or for the regular show, rather. But yeah, we'll be right back to it next week. It just didn't seem fair to Andy. Hey, you just got married. All right, now you need to finish working on these 15 songs and throw in a couple context clues and show up and take time away from your bride, although she's back at work today, but still give him a week off. It worked out for all involved. We're right back to our regular scheduled programming content next week. We've got returning guests, Ashley and Jason coming back. A couple Battle Royale round 2 in the very near future, and a bunch of other fun shows lined up after that. Andy's back. There we go.
What'd I miss?
Not a damn thing. Just jabbering away, basically. Nonsense.
You definitely are good at. There's no dead air on a show with Matt Knost. That's what I've noticed across your many shows. You're good at what do they call it? What's the word in this kind of world? What you fill in? Yeah, I guess. There's a word that starts with a V, and I can't remember what it's called. Like
that starts with a V, and it's about that just interstitial discussions in between and random.
Someone will drop it in the chat. It might be British only, and I'm remembering it wrong. Like, doesn't matter. What?
I don't know. It could be the variation of what we call host, you call presenter.
Vamping.
Oh yeah, vamping.
That's what you're good at.
Thank you,
everyone.
I couldn't think of it. Yeah, vamping is one we use. I don't like presenter.
Right.
It just doesn't ring. And do you guys ever say host? The host of this show?
No, you're probably right. We say presenter. Yeah.
What about like if they were on a panel show and it's like sitting down in the chat and be like, oh, this lady is the host of blah blah blah.
Host. Yeah.
So you don't say presenter of. Okay.
No. If it's a panel, formal. Yeah. Presenter game shows, host panel shows. Yeah. Or presenter.
What about if you have a presenter on a panel show and they are a guest? How would they be introduced?
So what a British version. So if Graham Norton is a guest on a show, he is the presenter of the Graham Norton show.
Okay. All right. So he's not the host of the Graham Norton show. He is still the presenter of. Okay. So you maintain that through there. All right. That's what I wanted to know. So they're always then referred to as a presenter. No matter the context that you put them in.
I believe so. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just too long. They're a host. So
host.
Short,
I like host.
And that's what their job should be, is that it should be short. Come up, little bit up top, and then like, let's get into the game or get into whatever it is. My guests that are coming up.
Yeah. No, I like it. Yeah. Host is good. Plus Matt Knost doesn't have the same ring to it. That's a really bad joke. I'm sorry.
At least you tried. You could see the brain was working. It wasn't lazy. There's something to be. Look,
someone give me an LOL.
Sometimes you write a joke and it's too wordy for your own good.
Someone give me an LOL in the comments, please.
Yeah, I did that once. I did a show. It was early on. Eventually, it was on TV on Comedy Central. It was called Roast Battle, but it was me and a buddy, and I said one of them. So just the worst thing you could say about him, and it comes back, and then the other person says the worst thing they could say about you, and just go back, and whoever gets the biggest crowd reaction wins. And I said one at one point, and I got to the end of it. I was like, "What? Too wordy?" And like 3-4 people laughed because they're all writers. And they're like, knowing that my own analysis, it's the only joke that didn't do resoundingly well or better. And it just fell flat. And I knew it as soon as I said it. I was like, it's too fucking wordy. But by making fun of the joke, at least they knew I was aware of, here's where I fucked up and I realize it.
Yeah. Does that then, can you only do that authentically one time? Like you catch yourself, you read the room, you go for it with the button. Could you then write that, too wordy for you guys as a thing? Or would you just have the
permanent fixture of the joke going forward?
Yeah. Is it never authentic enough after that?
No, I mean, you could. It comes down to the salesman.
Yeah.
Also, it could be a joke where half the time it works and half the time it doesn't. So it just extends the life of, and you have an out for each outcome.
So yeah,
it's
okay.
Yeah, there are mannerisms and stuff where, like the first time I saw a friend of mine really catch himself on stage, he'll double over laughter and he hit his knee like with the mic, but it was genuine. And he saw the reaction he got from the crowd. So then he would do it once a set. And it's just like, that is so fucking disingenuous at this point.
I really,
yeah. And after like 3 years of seeing it, I told him, I was like, don't you think if an audience member, because you do have a fan base and they come back to see you, that you're going to make yourself laugh every time they see you? And sometimes it's like the same 2 or 3 jokes that doesn't feel inauthentic to you. And he was like, nah, man, they like it. Like, okay.
Yeah. You got to get to some level then where people are like, oh, when's he going to do the thing with the knee?
Yeah.
So
it becomes a hook.
You got to hit to some hype before that becomes a thing. So
do
you have a bunch of buttons
they've said the joke?
Yeah. Do you have a bunch of like fail-safe kind of self-analysis things like that ready to go, or because you're very, very quick,
No,
like your crowd work is very strong, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm good at crowd work. Now there are people that are one of my friends, I've known him for one of my closest friends. He's easily the funniest person I've ever met. But he only does crowd work because he feels like writing a joke and just doing it over and over again. That to him feels inauthentic. So he just goes up and talks, but he is, I mean, it's so good. It is ridiculous. And I'm good at crowd work, but you see that and be like, nah, that's his bread and butter. And you got to be able to recognize when somebody is superior. And I like that in other comics. I like to watch people that do things stronger than I ever did. It's like, this guy is excellent at storytelling in this fashion, because there's all kinds of different, variations of stories that you can tell. It's like, oh, he'll tell more of these more personal, long drawn out, but it's when you get to the punch, it's so cathartic a release.
Yeah.
And the confidence that he had to have to build up, knowing I'm fine with the dead air and you guys just being sucked into the story. And it's so impressive to watch. You're like, that is craftsmanship, but it's not something I want to do. And that's why I like it. But yeah, anybody that does something, you're like, fuck, that is really interesting. Yeah, you get drawn to all kinds of. That's why we do a show on the Top 10 called Topic Thunder. And recently somebody asked, who's on your Rushmore comedy? And it's like, dude, what mood am I in? Because I know so many different comedians. I've seen, 10 times more than the average person.
Yeah.
And I know all kinds of names of people you'll never see perform, and be like, dude, if you ever saw this one dude's bit, though, that's one of the funniest jokes, singular. He couldn't write many others, but that one joke is still to this day one of the best jokes I've ever heard.
Right. Have you have you had nights at the store where a comedian has such a good night, and you got to see that night, and they've never then replicated that kind of moment, but they would get on your Rushmore on that night, like their best night?
Definitely that.
Yeah.
Well,
have you had a night that's kind of like hard to even think?
I don't know how you judge that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because comedy is so subjective. Have I had a room that would potentially agree with you? Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming from their reaction. This woman attacked me one time on stage. I was doing jokes about, I used to bartend, and the setup of the joke is, I make fun of a guy patron, and then I make fun of a girl patron, and then I make fun of, not from the audience, from my days. I could make them all guys. I could make them all girls, just like common occurrences that come up and you spin them and whatever else. And everybody can kind of identify with it because maybe they've never done it, but they've seen it. And after working in a bar, it's just like, dude, there's so many examples. But I was going back and forth, and finally this woman chimed in and was like, you're not, she was drunk, you're not perfect. And I was like, excuse me? And she said it again. And I was like, when did I ever say I was perfect? And then I went through and made fun of myself for the next, I'm not kidding. I did about 1.5 to 2 minutes of like, what about you makes what about me makes you think that I think that I'm perfect? Think about what the psychology of what I do. I belittle myself for the amusement of strangers such that their laughter at my pain somehow makes me feel better about myself. What sounds healthy mentally from that and any form of perfection? I remember that because like that was the opening. And then I did 90 seconds, 2 minutes more of making fun of myself. Audience is dying. And then at the end of it, fine, and you could tell I have them going. And I get to the end and I was like, so fuck you, bitch. The whole room except for their table stood up and applauded. And I'm not bullshitting. I got a standing O because I just made fun of myself for 2 minutes. And
because you're just going like this. You're going building. Yeah.
But she appreciated it just as much because I had read the room. And then the best part was, then I looked up and I was like, I still have 5 minutes. How do I fucking top that? And you say that, and then they laugh more. And then I just made, then I did a slow shift back into material, but I just talked about how awkward this is going to be as we shift back into my prepared remarks.
Okay.
But because I eased them back into it, they loved it. And then I got off and I got a standing O when I walked off.
Right.
I would agree with you. That crowd that night would have said yes.
Yeah.
I have had nights like that where you're just like, yes, I know what you're saying, but
just the energy.
But a night where there's 15 comics on stage type of thing, I don't know. I've done a lot of those shows. And it's all about when an audience is hitting versus when it's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're better late. Sometimes they're better early. You never know.
Sure. Yeah. I bet. So when was your last show and when's your next show?
I haven't
Have you played this side of, no.
I've turned down, just because I've only been fully vaccinated for a week and a half. Whereas I knew other guys that were on the road during all of this and just like, God, that seems too dicey. It doesn't really seem worth it either. So it's been since this all started, since I've been on stage.
Well, yeah. Okay. So yeah, well, over a year. And have you got anything? Have you got anything in sight? Have you got like a timeline?
Yeah, I'm doing spots around town, but I'm not.
Cool.
I'm not going on the road or anything like that anymore, unless the money's really good. I don't want to go on the road.
But you guys have been so busy as well, right?
Doing other stuff,
loads of stuff. Yeah,
and thankfully though, over the past like week and a half, it's been longer lulls in between when you need to go back to that work.
Okay,
and like tomorrow is going to be the last day, but we only did one day last week. It was the week before where it was like, dude, I'm here. I've been here 4 nights a week for 3 weeks now. So
yeah, I think that's a good time to promote the shop. And I certainly want to go. I mean,
please go hit up Two Saucy Broads, just doing a remodel, but it's all carry out and delivery now.
Yeah. I mean, the go and follow the Instagram account and you'll see why this will be the pizza place to go and visit and why I'm so excited to go. Two Saucy Broads. Looks incredible.
We will. Yeah, we'll definitely meet you down there and figure out some pizza situation.
Yeah.
She never brings it home anymore. So I rarely, if ever, but I try not to eat pizza because it just, I don't know. I'm so the past year and change, not getting as much exercise. So tried cutting out all that, as much of that crap as I could. Cause the first 6 weeks, 2 months, it was like, don't you feel like burgers and onion rings tonight? I definitely feel like, let's do it. Because I'm still eating like I'm exercising twice a week.
Yeah.
And then you start, who knows how long this is going to last? Let's enjoy ourselves. We're having dessert every night and just put on. It's one of those of I've been fat before. So you can see the telltale signs as they're accumulating on the early part. And just like, if you don't nip this in the bud now, it becomes a much bigger problem.
I agree.
Yeah, because it's just so easy to put it back on at this point. So now I eat salads. I'm back to my eating salads like 3-4 nights a week and splurging every once and again.
Good for you. What's your post basketball? Do you kind of protein up, or do you go for it on some takeaway or something like that?
No, I used to do like yogurt cups or yogurt when I got home, because it's just a nice shot of lean protein and minimal, some sugars, but minimal sugars and stuff like that. But I burnt myself out and I need to find a replacement. It's only 2 weeks back in, but I burnt myself out right as lockdown was beginning. and I haven't needed to replace it, so I haven't thought about it. So I don't know. Gatorade makes one with protein now. Maybe I'll try that in the interim. It's got a shitload of sugar though, and I don't want all that fucking sugar. It's good to replenish some of it, but I need the salt, the potassium, the other things that my body kicked out to actually. I don't need the energy of the sugar per se.
Yeah,
I'm not that skinny.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't need the extra energy. I can still burn some fat for that extra energy. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really have one as of now. I got to find one though. I drank 2 liters of water playing last weekend, which just a decent amount of water
during the game.
I played 6 games. Start. Over the course of day, in between games. And then we play on this big open court thing, and the ball went to the complete other side. So one dude walked to get it, and I went over and had a drink then. But yeah, it's usually in between games.
Yeah, wow. I guess you must sweat out a lot more playing basketball than you would do football. Yeah, I wouldn't need to replenish that much.
I think it's
playing football. It definitely is.
It was a hotter day.
Yeah, basketball's. Do you play outdoor?
No, yeah, play outdoor.
Oh wow. Okay.
There are super hard days where you hardly even sweat because it just evaporates instead of collecting. And on those days, there aren't many of those, but we'll have 3 or 4 Saturdays over the summer at some point where it is like 2 of those are guaranteed to be. It is hot as hell today, but it's like a Arizona dry heat. I don't know if that means anything to you.
There's
really. No humidity. It's just the sun baking you.
Oh.
It's better than the humidity though, because that the stickiness and whatnot, we don't get much of that here. Thank God. It's the worst.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Not a fan.
It's you ever been in an environment? I don't know how warm it gets for you guys, but I went to high school in the Midwest, and it gets so hot and humid in the summer that if you walked outside within like 15 minutes, you had broken out a sweat just standing there because it's so humid. So it's coalescing anyway, coupled with the heat, and then it's just adding extra body heat to you. And it's just like, dude, I am sweating through my shirt standing here.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna tell you how hot it gets here because our wedding day was the hottest day of the year.
All right, so we got to do a Celsius to Fahrenheit.
I'm doing it for you, of course.
Oh, thank you.
79 Fahrenheit. Our wedding day, hottest day of the year in England. Is that just a Wednesday for you guys?
Right now, today it's like 70 to 72 out, but yeah, 79. That's ballpark almost every day of the year. Upper 70s to mid 80s. It's pretty much that every day.
Yeah, that was our wedding day. But
it's gonna be the hottest day in England this year, really?
Well, it was the hottest day of the year so far.
Oh, okay.
Well, we've got some summer less to go, but it was particularly hot. We haven't got to the point where, because we don't have air conditioning built into our buildings by default. We don't have air conditioning here because they don't build it into buildings. So what happens is we have about 3 weeks or a month at best a very, very hot summer, and I'll let you know the temperature when that time comes around. But it will be that all shops, all stores, they all sell out of fans, like tabletop fans or, standing fans for your bedroom. Everywhere will sell out because people will desperately buy them and then put them in the garage, and they'll get dusty over the next year until the next summer, and then they'll need to buy them again. So every year there's a fan shortage. So we haven't gotten to that point yet where Anna and I felt like we need a fan in the.
Well, why don't you just preemptively buy a fan now and then get a nice one so you don't have to replace it in a year?
Oh, I just had a wedding, so I'm poor. If someone wants
you
to buy me
put that on a registry.
Oh yeah, I know. We didn't do the registry thing yet, but that's not a thing here at all. That is not a thing here.
That and then
the registry thing. Very cool.
Got invited to do you guys have baby showers?
They've become a thing in the last couple of years. Not a fan.
Yeah, thankfully I'm not expected to go as a dude.
No.
I got invited to one virtually, and I was like, well, thank God I don't feel bad about not even responding to this because everyone will assume I'm not responding to this.
Yeah.
It was nice. It's one of the gender, in my binary world, people are still against me going to baby showers, and I am perfectly fine with that.
I think it's one of it's one of those in our woke culture. I think you can hold on to that one, no problem at all. It's been around 75 for the last week here in Sweden. 75 in Sweden. Okay, yeah, I've been to Sweden a couple of times, and it is chilly when I've been, but I guess 75 is pretty good temperature. But yeah, everyone else.
So people don't just put in mini splits for your ACs. The one where there's an interior head that's a long rectangle with rounded edges, and it goes to a box outside because it's huge everywhere else. Like we saw them all over Italy, and we've got them. That's what we use for AC in my house because it wasn't built with AC, so we put a mini split in. But it does get hotter here. You
mean the classic like out the window box thing that sits outside?
No. One that sits like above a doorway or on a wall, whatnot, and then the tubing goes through the wall and just goes straight to a condenser outside. Oh
no,
I've definitely seen. I saw them in England when I was there, but I know that I saw them in Spain and Italy. But it gets warmer there.
So this house that I'm in is 5 years old. So I bought it new. So it's a new builds don't have anything like that. Maybe not even the structural integrity to add anything like that. So
it does, trust me, it does.
Oh, the walls are so cheap.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't rely on the thickness of the walls. It's about the framing. And if the frame is strong enough to hold up a house, it can take a mini split. You're fine.
All right, I'll do it.
Well, you'd screw it into the studs and then you just bore through. So the walls being thin actually would benefit you for a mini split on some level.
Fair enough. Well, I'll look into the cost of that. Let you know. We're talking about literally 2 weeks a year that it would warrant it. So we'll work out the annual cost based on that.
Well, you can get ones with heat pumps, and in the winter, they can act as a heater for the room because it'll draw out the cold air from inside and spit it outside. It does it reverse and then draw whatever. It's actually kind of amazing. Even in freezing temperatures, it can still find heat within the air and trap that and pump it into your home.
Well, that sounds delightful. So I'll definitely look into that. Thank you for the tip.
Well, for $750 to $1,000, you could have, if you got a room like a garage that you'd like heated, and then in the summertime, wouldn't mind having AC for that 2 weeks. It could do dual purpose.
For sure.
Look, I don't know what you're into. Maybe eventually the piano becomes a studio out in the garage.
I'm into temperature regulation 100%. So I will definitely look into it.
Just telling you, I've installed a couple that. It's not hard.
There. Yeah.
Now you need one specific fucking tool though. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to install more than one of them, just have somebody do it.
Yeah. What's the tool?
You need some version of a pipe bending tool. There's a couple different ones, but they're
right.
Just because it's got copper line, and if you get a kink in the copper line, it screws over the line. So you just can't get a kink in it. And copper's pretty malleable. It doesn't take much to get a fucking kink in it. So that's it. Just getting those lines set right. But beyond that, a teenager could do it.
Right.
It's just a matter of plugging in a couple things, running these wires, and whether or not you want to call an electrician to set up a sub panel for it, like a little zone switch.
Drew ends. Temperature regulation is something we can all get behind.
Exactly.
Would it be a Matt and Andy show without talking about the weather? No.
Well, I was about to say, did anybody envision when they tuned into this? We were talking about ACs, mini splits, and pipe bending tools.
We're full of surprises. But should we? I'll ask people to drop some questions in. We might be able to answer some questions, I guess.
Yeah, and then we'll call that a show after that. Anybody wants to drop one in?
Yeah, throw some questions
for a couple more minutes, and we'll wait for a question.
Yeah.
And I can put those up on the screen. That way you can read them as soon as they come in, because they come in like 10 seconds quicker for me.
Cool. I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up a picture just off my phone. Not integrate it, but I'll just cut to it because I'm sure people have wanted to see us on the day. Well, this one, I don't know if you've seen this one, Matt, but this was me on my wedding day. No trousers.
Oh, you can't get wrinkles in them.
I was having a game of chess in the library whilst Anna was sewing my trousers. It was like almost like this perfect husband and wife, 50-year-old. There was a loose thread on my trousers that pulled, and the photographer had a sewing kit, so Anna was doing that. But I'll. All right, this is the picture of me and my wife on our wedding day. There you go, having a little dance in the street in Oxford.
How many people were there again?
We had 30, which was limit, but we honestly wouldn't have had any more. It was perfect.
All right, first question's coming from Drew Enns. Can you read that? Most disappointing you've seen this past year.
Okay, this is where Letterboxd comes in handy. You don't have that luxury, but I'm going to be able to tell you.
I don't, but maybe I've seen some bad movies with you. I will say Godzilla King Kong. I was disappointed by that. I don't know if it was most disappointing, but I was disappointed by it. I don't know. Actually, it was exactly what I expected.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It was as mediocre and bad as I was expecting. Which sucks because they suckered me in another time.
Yeah.
That Project Power was okay. The new Snyder zombie is
hadn't seen that.
Whatever.
I hadn't seen that yet. Do you know what I was really disappointed by? I've just seen it on Letterboxd. That Tiger documentary about Tiger Woods, especially Tiger Woods, especially coming off of The Last Dance, and then Tiger Woods has his own documentary. I thought it was just felt like some E-network trash piece. It had no depth. Have you seen this?
I didn't watch it. I don't know if it's a compelling enough subject for me. That's why
it really was weak. I was really that was disappointing to me, and especially because of The Last Dance raised the bar of sports docs. I guess I went into that one quite excited.
For you,
Matt, I grew up with the Chicago Bulls.
That's true.
I was huge fan of them. Huge. They were honestly, as we were watching The Last Dance, you should have seen me. This, English white boy. I was pausing The Last Dance on Netflix, and I was saying to Anna, "This is when this happens." I'm saying Jordan's going to pass the ball to Kerr, and he's going to hit the three. And honestly, because Anna can't follow basketball with the same eyes that you and I have, and I'm nowhere near your ability, but Anna can't physically follow it. You see, it's too quick.
There's a lot of action going on, and especially if you don't know who the primaries, where the ball is more than likely going to reside, it looks like chaos.
Yeah, so I have to set up the play so she knows exactly what's going to happen. But I remember them all. I had my most overused box set on my shelf when I was a kid was 3 VHSs, and they were Above and Beyond, Come Fly With Me, and I can't remember the name of the third, Jordan Doc. Oh, it was the Unbelievables, the 7th championship, which The Last Dance was about. So the
sixth. But...
Yeah, so I used to watch them over and over and over again. Completely obsessed with the Bulls, and had all the jerseys and everything like that. So, and Luke was the same. Even though him and me didn't grow up together, we both had this kind of love of the Bulls in the 90s. They really did transfer to non basketball playing countries. It was incredible.
The 92 Olympics, when I saw the billboards in Madrid and the reception that the Dream Team got, it helped me really understand how big that team was internationally, all those guys, and how that sport has transferred more easily internationally than American football and baseball.
Right.
Those dudes are on par with football players like Messi and Ronaldo. They are internationally famous. Everybody knows what they look like and who they are. And
yeah.
They take shots from every corner type of thing.
Yeah. I'm just going to throw one more out there. It's not quite an obvious one, although I was disappointed by Wonder Woman 1984. I'd heard amazing things about Happiest Season and how it was finally a Christmas movie for the LGBT community. And I was very disappointed with that film. I thought it was quite pandering and almost I'm not part of that community so I don't feel like I should have a say on it, but I felt like it was a little rough around the edges and shouldn't have been handled more sensitively, but it just felt a bit like a first draft of that kind of thing. Like they'll improve on it, and I get that there was thank goodness there's a version of A Christmas Story for this community, but there's a lot of room to breathe as far as that film is concerned. There's more films to come, and I hope they do improve on it, because we need more of that. But that film,
I'm sure there will be. Yeah, they still got a bunch of big names to do it, which is good for the future of it.
That's it. That's it. It was a good stepping stone on the Yellow Brick Road, but it certainly wasn't the be all end all of that.
All right, do you have any thoughts on Euros? The Euros?
I need to tune in. It's been a really strange year for football. I need to get my wall, the wall calendar that we have every year. That the newspapers will put a wall calendar in their center page. So I need to get tuned in. I need to get the matches all lined up on my calendar so I know when they're coming. And it will be. What tends to happen is that the better England do, the more invested our country is in the competition. So we've got a really, really strong young squad, and hopefully good things will come. It could be our year. So my thoughts on it is that I'm going to watch as much of it as possible, and towards the latter stages of the tournament, in a fortnight or in a month's time, however long that tournament lasts, when those quarterfinals, semi-finals, final roll around, that will be when social gatherings will start happening, and we'll really start to enjoy the games as
get back to
more community-based stuff. But in those first, the first group stages, I'll just be watching it pretty much on my own, and Anna will have an ear on it a little bit. But I'm excited. I just need to tune into a little bit. The Premier League just finished, and we're rushing straight into the Euros, so it's kind of normally you have a few weeks of breathing room before getting excited again. Feels a little rushed in because of the way the world has been. So almost like need to settle again, get my equilibrium, and get excited again.
There you go.
Good question, though. Thank you, Henrik.
Brandy wants to know what's been the most fun show to film so far.
Yeah, what do you think? What's yours?
I don't know. I can tell you, like, moments where I died laughing at that, or was excited when they managed to get this question right. Like when Sam was cutting off Rachel because he wanted to get Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. But he kept it was right on the tip of his tongue. It's only something you can do when you have your significant other or like a close friend. Yeah. That made me that got me. That was a good moment. I don't think I have a favorite show like from start to finish. Be like, oh, that was the best show we've done so far, because I don't really look at them like that. Yeah. I'm not sure Rachel would say that's her favorite one. But I agree. But I'm saying that's a specific moment. So a couple come to mind. The musicals episode, although it wasn't in your wheelhouse, the amount of passion and love for musicals really came across from Ashley and Omar. And, we've talked about doing a kind of sequel to that episode. That was a really, really fun one to put together. It felt like, because my mum was introduced me to theater, it felt like I had a chance to play all these songs from my, that I grew up listening to in the kitchen and singing with my mum and stuff. So that was nice. Yeah. The Guy and Bateman match was a lot of fun. I loved how they kind of didn't get the context clues. They were really on point. They were a lot of fun. When Guy guessed, it came up at the wedding. Like, people in the reception were talking about Settle the Score in the evening, and it came up that when Guy had guessed, the context clue was, and your context clue is Shaun of the Feds, and he went, Guy, Shaun of the Dead. Yeah. Well, it did. And I said to him,
we're not going to give 75% of the answer away in the context clue. And he went, you know what, Andy, I've had about enough of you. And that was a really fun moment for me because, I'm fans of those guys as well. And it was nice to get on well with them. And also, if anybody hadn't seen it, they spent a good 20 minutes talking about us on their show and how much they loved it and would love to be back on and stuff like that. And that was a really nice moment for me, considering I do watch their content as well. So that was nice. And but
the context clues, like when Christian was like, I don't listen to the clues, and be like, well, that kind of tells you what the fucking movie is.
Yeah, because there are songs.
For a guy that's constructed a game of his own, how are you not paying attention to the rules of another game?
Yeah, for sure.
You'd be keyed in on this. But so that's not how his brain operates when it comes, I guess, to scores and whatnot.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. Christian takes the show the most seriously of all our guests, I think, in terms of like, he really wants to win. There's no, he has fun with it, but he really does want to win. I think I would say,
Snyder's definitely like that.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. The show, not just because he's in the chat as well, but the Eric versus Rachel episode was a strong episode.
Well, I asked about favorite guests, and they're all my favorites, Eric, just so you know, they're Americans or international beyond the North American continent thus far.
Fair.
But the Southern North American continent, we'll say that part.
I do love having Eric on because he's so passionate.
Yeah.
The people that are really passionate about the scores are really fun. The ones that like can guess the composer, but even if they don't know the movie, they know like it's a Tom Newman score, or like Darina's like that. Those guests are really fun.
When we had Billy Business on, and he could guess the band, which was Massive Attack, and you're like, listen, I'm impressed that you know that that's Massive Attack, because most people may have heard the song, but they couldn't pull the band, but they couldn't think of the movie it was from.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Wangers are always a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're good dudes. Well, I say we wrap this up. Well. I gotta use the restroom, unless you want to kibitz on your own while I go use the restroom. Your call.
You can do that. I'm just gonna
right.
But do you want to do that and then we'll wrap it up together?
Well, we just wrap it up right now.
Okay, so I just want to go through quickly to get these, what has been the most fun show to film so far we did. When are we getting the Do You Want to Be a Dick merch? We'll get Luke on it.
In due time.
We'll get Luke on it. When people answer
by the way, context. We both enjoyed our parents' episode.
We did.
Amount.
It's great.
I don't want them to feel like we left them out, because that is the God's honest truth. I was looking forward to it. It was great.
It was so much fun.
I'm so happy they did it.
Yeah. When people answer just on context clues, are you really okay with it? I'm not.
It depends.
It's great
when the only time, like when Peggy did it,
when Peggy did 0 on Shawshank, that is so I love
let's get
that.
you back into it, because there's enough of it there, but you can interpret that to mean all kinds of different things. So is it the literal shit, or is it just the metaphorical? We all go through shit in life, and yes, it applies to the movie once you see it, like a falling down. He's sick of all this shit. The amount of shit that he has to put up with. Like, yeah, it does. It fits that movie.
Yeah.
But the rom-coms, it ended up being enjoyable, but that was painful for a couple of those.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, rom-coms, it was impressive, but there was nothing we could do.
By the end of it, I was fine with it, but in the middle, I was like, fuck.
Yeah, that's the point when it's not enjoyable, is when we have a list of context clues and we just pick the one that resonates, and they go, oh yeah, I've got it. And that is,
and then you're trying to go narrowing the focus and be like, all right, this one's more vague. And then I don't know if it's as fun for the listeners, but by the end of that, I did enjoy. And I don't count like the first couple episodes we did, because we were still figuring out the difficulty of the context clues. And
of course,
yeah. How on point should we be?
But yeah, that's the thing you guys who are listening should know about Matt, is he is constantly analyzing how they are doing with the context clues and then adjusting to match. So the first 5 context clues he gives out for those 1 to 5 are kind of, you're benchmarking, aren't you, basically? And then
usually a lot of the easier, or like the semi-easier ones, end up in the first, the way you put it.
Yeah.
There's usually some tougher ones because you need to hear more of the song and kind of let it ruminate a little bit.
Yeah.
The super easy are the 5 seconds. Like, you either know this, or the second 5 will get it for you, type of thing. So yeah,
but
you're just kind of feeling them out.
Yeah, you are figuring out.
Because the all important third round, and we don't change what the song is going to be. That's what some people thought, I guess, at some point. The song and movie are going to be the song and movie. We just have, I'd say on the low side, we'll have 5 for, we'll have 5 clues for any given song, but on occasionally there's 7, 8, maybe 9.
Yeah.
And you're looking at all those going, all right, which does it feel most like?
Yeah.
Hybridize, you cannibalize 2 of them, put it together and be like,
yeah, you do that very well. Yeah. The context clues are completely collaborative, if anybody wanted to know that. Yeah. So we both have a bash at it. And we build off of each other's context clues a little bit as well. So if I put one where I've referenced something, you might come up with a better way of saying that and use that, and we'll do that the other way around. It's a really good collaborative process. I think people would be hard pressed to guess which one of us came up with whatever context. Well,
especially
I think we're right in tune when I laugh.
You even laugh at the ones that you wrote.
Mine, yeah. So, a lot of that is down to your delivery. You do. I said to someone the other day that when I write a context clue, and I kind of I emphasize it in some way, maybe put capitals.
You've put in parentheticals before and been like, this. I have taken those notes and be like, okay, and then other times like, I'm not reading it that same way, but I'll try it. I'll run it through my head. When you read one of the context clues that I've come up with, even better than how I came up with it, that does tickle me. Yeah, I do like it. But I genuinely try and go for the best one. I don't give a shit who wrote it between the 2 of us.
No,
because there are some weeks where one of the 2 of us are on fire. I feel like it's you more often, but it could be just me being critical of myself. But where I'm like, I love that one. I love this one. I love this one. Like, this is great.
I think my stronger weeks are when you've had a go at them first, and I can kind of feel where you're going with it and then build on that.
I feel the same. If you go first, I feel like I'm better.
Yeah,
I do the same thing. So
yeah, so it's nicer when you get someone sort of almost paving a little. They're almost like setting up a beat for you, and then you can carry on that rhythm. So the later context clues they tend to be stronger, right? That's just how it. I
think it varies because occasionally.
I mean, there might be one. Right, I know that.
A lot of times, whatever one I wrote first, it's like the first thought is oftentimes the best thought. Sometimes it's the second and third when you really start to get a rhythm, because there are occasions where I'm just writing down how can I summate this movie in 3 to 5 words. And I remember I left a half of one blank. I was like, the pen is mightier than and I couldn't think of any intrinsic specific thing that I could get down to start with an S to work with sword. I couldn't pair the 2, but I was like, there is something there. And I left it the end blank. I was like, maybe he can come up with it. But then I can't remember what show it was on, but you referenced it, I think, at the end of the show, and you're like, oh yeah, what was that one? I was like, I think it was after we finished recording.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like when you started, I'm like, oh, okay, all right. And then it takes some of the pressure off, because if you see 2 or 3 already there that you think are good, you're like, oh, okay, well, if I just add like 1 or 2 good ones, then we're set. This is great.
I completely agree. When
you're staring at it blank, you're like, fuck, we need 5.
Yeah, exactly. I said 2 weeks ago, I said on an episode, I'm going to tell you a context clue. I'm going to tell the audience a context clue that we didn't use. I'm just going to reveal one. And last week, because we went to the kitchen and the groomsmen were in there, I completely forgot, but I knew which context clue I wanted to reveal. And so I'll do it now, because there are no context clues in this one. And so the context clue that I was going to reveal that we didn't use was Ooby-Doo, I Want to Be Like You. And the film was Crystal Skull. And so it was a reference to not only Shia LaBeouf wanting to be Indiana Jones, his son wanting to be him, but also the swinging monkeys scene.
Yeah, and so the jungle.
Ooby-Doo, I Want to Be Like You was one of mine, I think. But yeah, that was the one that I wanted to reveal last week that we didn't use because they got it within the first context clue in round 2. So,
and I also think that context clue, that's a thinker.
Oh yeah.
Some people appreciate that and others don't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I don't like is when people complain. They're like, how did you? It's just a bit of fun.
Yeah, exactly. Just relax.
You'll be all right.
Relax.
Just listen to the music.
Or my favorite is like, this song is in this movie, and we try not to do that. We do try and grab songs that are only, if they're used in a bunch of movies, they're known for this one, or it's like with their top two, but try not to get those ubiquitous songs because they apply to so many different ones.
It's tough.
But it's still, yes, it's up. And that's why you listen to the context clue. And we're telling you which movie this was used in. And the context clue will spark the memory of what this fucking movie is. I'm trying to help. We want you to answer this. We want you to get it right. That's the one thing. I want every question answered.
Yeah.
That's why we are like, do you guys need a third context clue? Let's give them a third context clue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'd rather have points on the board than stump them and be like, you guys are no good. It's like, well, what's fun about that?
Yeah. What probably the toughest thing is when the song is so obviously the song it is.
Yeah. There are painful moments where you're like, how are you not getting this?
But when I do the first 5 seconds of a song and it's obvious what the song is, there's nowhere for me to go for a second 5 seconds.
I know.
And so I have to come up with I have to create some kind of thing, which is why I yelled out a line from the movie of, I can't remember what movie it is. Richard Dreyfuss and Bill Murray.
Oh, what about Bob? It was the Tourette's.
Bob? Yeah. So I yell out like, he can use my slider at the end of the track.
Something, which I didn't.
There's nowhere for me to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could have gone into the liver lips, blah, blah, blah. And just like some of the insults that they were lobbing at each other as they were bouncing on the beds. So
that's one thing to look out for. If the song is obvious, if it's a well-known song, there will be something in the second five that I've normally have lined up. And a lot of those we don't get to see because they've got it before we go to the second five, but I will do stuff. And that's where like me throwing a shot over my shoulder, or I did the Chris Farley impression where I'm dousing myself in water that time. All the kind of visual things that the podcast listeners don't get to see. But yeah, I usually come up with some way of making the second five creative enough that it's not just hearing more of the same song, you know. So that's an added kind of
it doesn't happen all the time, but it's nice to have a fail safe in there.
For sure.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like the second 5 seconds, you already know the song.
Yeah. So me
playing what you know is coming is not going to help you.
No, exactly. Cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
Do you want to? Should we close out? And
we're at almost 2 hours right now.
Honestly, that flew, but I don't know how it felt for other people or for you, but that flew for me. That was
outside of the last 5 minutes, just needing to use the restroom. It was money in the bank, baby.
Great.
If this was at hour 1 instead of hour 2, I would have just gone to the bathroom. But 2 hours is, this will be the 1-2 speed. Where was it? Drew said no. Drew said he couldn't get above 1.25. I can't remember who said there were 2 speed in the chat earlier. But anyway.
Oh, that's right. Josh.
Well, anything else you want to say before we get out of here? We'll be back to our regular guests going forward. This was just to give Andy a little time off, enjoy his, newlywed bliss instead of learning songs and taking time away from Anna, which we could do today while she's at work. So
no, I appreciate that.
She's home now, but
yeah, it's been a long day for her, so she went straight to bed. But want to say thanks to you. I know we're not at a kind of a milestone episode. We're just doing something different, but yeah, just thanks to you for inviting me to be part of this, and I've loved every single of the 40, and thanks to everyone in the comments. Everyone, it's been so nice, and I'm very, very new to this world, and it's just been so much of a pleasure, honestly. So,
but yeah, by and large, everyone's nice. It's a nice little corner of the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nobody's super critical. They realize we're just here to have a good time and enjoy yourselves. And whatever negativity you're bringing in, that's your baggage you're taking from something else that's really bothering you, and you're just spilling it out on us because we don't do anything to elicit that. So it's all right, though. We'll take it with a grain of salt. We'll let you, have a better day, friend. Take it easy out there. It's okay. Tomorrow the sun will rise. It'll be fine.
Basically 0.001%. Not even an issue.
Yeah. Not even. And I don't tune into any of it. So if there's a whole bunch of it, I don't even know it exists. but I don't believe that there is from what percolates up.
Nope.
But yeah, that's it this week. Please follow him at STS_AndyM, and you can follow me at Matt Knost. And we'll look for you guys next week for another brand new episode of Settle the Score. That is it for this week. Until then, adios.